З Росією мирний план не спрацює. Їм не потрібно зараз мир. Не похоже на те, щоб вони хотіли підписувати мирну угоду. Зовсім не похоже. Росія розуміє тільки мову сили. З ними треба так. Інакше перемир'я при...
Okay, guys. Well, welcome to the video. This is Justin Paul, and I did a report, a couple days ago about Putin uh, wanting land, wanting Ukraine to surrender land within the peace deal that the United States is trying to mediate between Russia and Ukraine. And this is a report from the Associated Press on you know the mental of the troops that are defending Ukraine. So these are the people who are actually on the ground, who are actually on the defensive within this war, um, and they're giving their insight on what their thought process is. And they're saying that they just don't believe a truce will lead to anything else but another war in the near future, because it allows Russia to have a lot more ground in into the country to be able to go back, create another type of counterattack, and they'll have a lot more leverage at that point. And these people are have been at this for like 4 years now, and they're playing defense. As they're going to go on to say here, they don't have the personnel to be on the offensive. They're outmanned, and the best thing that they can do is kind of hold certain positions because they're in fortified areas, and try their best to you know hold down the fort, as they say, and just play defense. But I'm gonna just let this go along. You have to read the
зведе до наступної
dialogue
війни
here.
найближчим часом.
Дуже велика перевага у противника в особовому складі, в людському ресурсі, але в нас за минулий місяць ми знищили навіть не в 10 разів більше ворога, ніж понесли втрати, а може в 20 або навіть в 30. Да, ми не можемо просуватися вперед, бо в нас недостатньо людей, але ту смугу, яку ми зараз тримаємо, ми тримаємо досить впевнено, і я вважаю, що ми ще дуже довго можемо це робити.
So, as he was just saying, they've suffered a lot more losses than, the opposite, because they have more troops. But they do feel like they can hold the position that they have for a long time. And like I said in previous videos, we've sent a lot of aid over to Ukraine, which, we hope is going to assist these guys in, defending their country. But as we have also seen, there's been corruption scandals. And, with corruption, it's nothing but money. And so a lot of that money isn't going to the troops as it should be, going to the wars. The defending of the country is going to fatten people's pockets. And that's just kind of where we're at in this whole thing here. And I really don't know when there's going to be an end in sight. I've never been to either one of these countries, and I really don't plan on going. And it's a shame, man, because it's just like people are really just pawns in the larger scheme of things. Their lives aren't really valued as much as it should be valued, because they're being put in this situation to where they're trying to defend a country that they believe in, that they literally put their blood, sweat, and tears into. And then you have folks within their government that are now being investigated for corruption. And the opposition has plenty of soldiers, as they were saying, and they're gonna do their best to try to play defense as best as they can. But it's only a matter of time before the walls just start caving in. It's really on a matter. Like, I'm surprised And I'm sure a lot of people are surprised they've been able to hold it down for this long. Being that, you know, they more than likely don't have all the type of artillery that's being used against them. But what they do have, you know, they're trying to use it, like the use of drones and things like that, to where it's not really manned. They can, you know, sit back from a certain position and send these drones out to try to help defend themselves. But very, very tall task, really. And I'm sure it's very, very tough just living out there in the wilderness day in and day out, not really eating good meals, you know, not being of the best health, and you know, very, very sleepless and tireless nights, because you know, if you go to sleep on the job, that could be your life. It can in turn, you know, end up being the life of your loved ones. And really, man, like Ukraine is just, man, like certain parts are just demolished, just completely demolished, and it would take decades in order for them to build that back up. So, you know, nothing good has come of this whole conflict, really. And it's, you know, it's something that we don't necessarily have to deal with on a day-to-day basis because it's not here on our soil. But you know, us being one of the world's superpowers, we definitely have to, you know, have our nose in this business, and so that in turn will affect us. And you know, it's just very, very sad, and it's very unfortunate, but it's just, it is what it is, really. It's just no more to it than that. Let's see what this last person has to say.
Ми зараз виконуємо свою роботу максимально
See what it had to say.
Дуже довго можемо це робити.
Ми зараз виконуємо свою роботу максимально відповідально і максимально ідейно налаштовані на продовження цієї війни. Звичайно, ми цього не хочемо. В кожного там було до того нормальне життя, і ми б хотіли до нього повернутися. Але поки триває війна, ми маємо швидше думати за те, як не померти нам і вбити більше ворога, а не про те, як якось домовитися про кількість цих смертей, яка когось там влаштує.
So, you know, as he was saying, you know, they had normal lives. These are, you know, sons, husbands, you know, fathers. These people had normal lives before this conflict kicked off, and their whole normal life has been put on hold so they can go and defend their country. And you know, you know, they're committed, as he was saying. Um, but you know, they would rather be back with their families, enjoying, you know, however they celebrate, or just, you know, just creating memories. I mean, a lot of these guys are missing their kids grow up because they have to be out here defending themselves and stuff like that, because they know, you know, if they allow themselves to be invaded, they won't they would not have a normal life either. You know, a lot of them will be separated from their families. A lot of horrible other things could happen. So, as it has already happened to some within that country, and you just got to think about how, like thousands and thousands of people who have already died, you know, trying to defend their country. It's no way, you know, people that have any pride in themselves can allow, you know, any type of giving up of anything that they've been defending for this long. You know, if it was that simple, they would have, you know, done that a year or two ago. They wouldn't have gotten up to 4 years. So, you know, tough, very, very tough situation. And you know, we'll see what becomes of it. It's pretty much all I can really say on this topic. Just as the updates come, I'm gonna try to give my reaction and give my, you know, opinion on how I feel about this whole conflict. And I really just couldn't imagine being within a war torn country and having to, you know, be in defense mode all day, and you know, really just trying to just make sure that you can, you know, stay alive, you know, long enough to get back to your family if that ever happens for these guys. So very, very tough job. Again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This is Justin Paul. Peace.